All right, how's everyone doing? Thanks for checking out my channel. So what I want to talk about today is, are you buying other people's problems? If you know anything about me, I try to help men with confidence, and also I try to help them save money, live an incredible life affordably, and not get burned a lot of times. That could be when buying things across the board. And I think a lot of men and women get taken advantage of a lot of times, or they spend their money on a lot of things that are devaluing instead of, appreciating to a certain degree. That could be clothes, jewelry, and automobiles, and many other things in between. But in this case, what I want to just be very specific on is a lot of guys not realizing that, and women, when they're purchasing sometimes that they think's a deal, it's a problem. And a lot of young people, I don't think, realize this, especially when buying things online, too. My grandmother had a saying that a deal, how did she say this? A deal isn't a deal unless you need it, which is quite interesting because if you think about it, there's a million deals out there, right, on a million different types of things. But if you don't need it or you're not going to use it, what the hell? Or unless maybe flip it and sell it and make some money, you maybe not supposed to be spending money on it. But in this case, I think a lot of times, and I'll just use an automobile, for instance, or a car. I think a lot of times, and believe me, I like getting used cars. I'm not, because I think one of the worst investments ever, unless it's a specialty car, vintage, or something that's going to appreciate, or if you're loaded and you want to get Ferraris or something like that. But buying a car is a bad investment. Everybody's heard it. You pull it off the lot, you lose, I don't know how big of a percentage depending on the car. Usually it's also devaluing. As soon as you buy it, you know what I mean? What's your car worth at the end? What did you pay in interest? What's your payments? I think I just heard that the average car payment is like $500 per month, which is kind of whack, because if you think about it, I know, you look at what people make per week, and then you look at their car payment, and then you start thinking about their rent, their insurance, their food, especially if they have kids, their clothing, everything in between, electric bill, and all these other things. It's pretty expensive to if that's the average car. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. But back to, if you are purchasing things that are used, make sure you put the time and effort to make sure it's in decent condition. I think a lot of times we don't do it. We rush this. We base it off the price, which is understandable. And I also think a lot of times when a deal, a lot of times sometimes a deal is just too good, and you don't realize it till later, like, oh my God, I can't pass up this deal. Even if there's problems, it'll still be worth it. Then you get it and you don't realize how bad of a deal or what type of condition it's really in, or how much it's going to cost to fix it. I used to see this, I can't say now, the real estate market's really strong in Florida, but a lot of times people would buy homes, they would see this great deal on a home, and they didn't realize, like when purchasing it, that it could be an area that's depleting. It can also be a home that floods. You don't even know this. It may need I get there's inspectors, but a lot of times too, there's all these other issues that you may not know about. It could be the neighborhood's a mess. That's why it's a really good deal. And I tell people a lot of times too, whenever you move somewhere, go at night. Go on weekends. Because a lot of times, especially in Florida, during the day, everything looks kind of okay. Looks pretty decent. At night, everything changes, especially weekends. So go hang out in your neighborhood for an hour or two, a house you're thinking of purchasing. Check it out, especially on weekends. See what the neighbors are truly like. See what the kids are like. You know what I mean? See what everything is kind of like. What's the traffic really like during the day and night? A lot of us just go, I'll just use the home again. You just go there and you visit it once. You're like, oh yeah, I like it. Do you really know that area that well? Unless you grew up there or you know it. But if you never lived there, how do you know it? Same with a car. A lot of times you do get a used car from it. I don't care if it's a dealership or somebody personally. Looks great on the outside. You look at the engine, it's good too. Then you come to realize, and I've had this happen with a couple cars. I brought a car at a really good deal, a Grand National, when I was younger, which is it's a very unique car. So I brought it. Great deal at a dealership. And me and my father were like, this is unbelievable. This car is worth so much money. Why are they selling it so cheap? After about a year, my windshield starts cracking. And so we go, and my buddy's in from Chicago, my dad's buddy, and he's a mechanic, and he's like, he looks underneath the car, he goes, your frame was cracked. So I guess it was a huge accident, because the car was, I think it was only a year old or 2 years old when we got it. So I don't know if they claimed it was totaled or not, but they had to redo the entire frame, and they didn't line it up correctly. So if I would have gotten in an accident, they said that whole thing would have snapped. Thank God we caught it. But if the windshield would have never broke, again, was it a good deal? I got a Mercedes again when I was younger. I'm going to wrap it up with this. I got a gray market car, which is made for the Autobahn in Germany. And everything was in German, everything. It would go like 160 miles per hour. I got it in Miami. Incredible deal. Got it back. After a certain time, the whole front end snapped. I don't know why, especially being a German car. Again, I don't know if it had a previous accident. The whole front end collapsed. Now, thank goodness it happened actually. Was somebody else driving it? I don't think I was there. It was my stepmother driving. Anyways, my point being, I've never heard of this happening before. You find out again. And that's, cars are sometimes hard. But my point being is, a lot of times, be prepared that things you're buying you do not know about, right, that are a good deal, but there's a lot of hidden things. And I just want to make sure that people put the time and effort, especially if you're buying stuff online, Craigslist and all this different shit, man. Make sure you're getting, what you got. I will say this officially, a lot of things that you think are legit, especially in fashion with clothing, or it could be technology, and a lot of these things, it is not. Even cologne, I talk about it all the time. It's a billion-dollar industry. You walk through a mall, mainly get your colognes at a big box store, like a luxury type store, I think, if you're getting good colognes. It could be Neiman's, Nordstrom's. It could be Macy's, whoever the hell, Bloomingdale's. A lot of these cologne stores, I'm just telling you, the reason it's a great deal on the cologne, because it's a knockoff. It may have the same packaging, same color, and you may even smell it at first. I just went through this with my dad at a flea market. He wanted Halston cologne. I said, this cologne's a knockoff. I'm telling you right now, no. 30 days he went back. It just smelled. It didn't even have a smell anymore. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. Just make sure you protect yourself when buying things, all right? Take care. If you got any questions, actually, I'm at richcelenza.com.